Hello, I'm David Beckmann. I'm the president of Bread for the World. I just got back from a trip to Malawi and Mozambique. I traveled with Dave Miner, the chair of Bread for the World's board. Dave is a grassroots Bread for the World leader in Indianapolis. I think the highlight of our trip was a visit to Mzimba, Mozambique. We had to go in by boat because Mzimba is a long way away from any road. It's a little settlement, about 50 households, very poor. We met with wonderful people, hardworking people who are trying to make their community work, but these are also all people who have experienced hunger. Everybody we met knows what it is to go for a long time without any food. What I found most thrilling, really, about visiting Mzimba was that we could see in Mzimba, Mozambique, impacts from things that Bread for the World has helped to make happen. So almost all the kids in Mzimba, also the AIDS orphans, get to go to school. That's a new thing in Mozambique. It's just happened over the last decade or so. And it's happened because the US and other wealthy countries agreed to write down the debts of poor countries like Mozambique. Bread for the World members worked hard to get the US to support debt relief for poor countries. And we could see that kids were going to school in this little village because of work that we did. We also met a number of people in Mzimba who were dying of AIDS, but are now living joyful, productive lives because they're getting antiretroviral medications, and almost all those medications are funded by US taxpayers. And that happened too because Bread for the World members pushed to get more funding for health and development assistance from the US government to places like Mozambique. So I was really encouraged by what we saw throughout Mozambique, and especially in Mzimba. In 2009, Bread for the World's offering of letters, our main campaign, will be a push to reform US foreign assistance. Now, we saw that our foreign assistance is making a real difference, but we also saw in Malawi and Mozambique that the reforms that we'll be seeking will help our aid to be more effective. In both countries, we saw that there are a number of US agencies administering foreign assistance. That's a real problem. It's confusing for local people. It adds to the administrative burden of these poor country governments. And it also makes it hard to hold our aid establishment accountable for results when a number of agencies are doing their own work and sometimes not even fully aware of each other. We also saw that US foreign assistance almost never gets into indigenous institutions. The United States is almost allergic to providing money to the countries, the governments, or to local non-governmental organizations in countries like Malawi and Mozambique. There's some logic to that, but it means that we don't do what we could to build up those local institutions. And it also makes it hard for our US aid agencies to work in a cooperative way with the aid programs of other countries. We also saw that we're not spending what we should be spending to help develop agriculture. It's just really obvious when you go to a place like Mzimba that agriculture is vital. If that cassava field does not produce, people will go hungry. There is nothing else. People will go hungry. It is their livelihood. It is their sustenance. And we could see there that if you had a rural road that would get to Mzimba, they could get fertilizer, they could sell some of their crops. They'd be more likely to hear about improved varieties, improved agricultural techniques, to get seedlings for trees, to complement traditional agriculture. But the reason why we're not putting much money into agriculture in Malawi and Mozambique is that our foreign aid programs are really constricted by Congress, and Congress has dedicated all the money to other sectors that have stronger constituencies in the U.S. We ought to be in a position where we can be more responsive to local needs than we are. So Dave Miner and I were really encouraged by what we saw. We saw that Bread for the World's work to get the reduction of debts, more development assistance, this work is really making a difference to hungry and poor people in Malawi and Mozambique. And we also saw real scope for reform, ways that next year we can make U.S. foreign assistance more effective so that we get more out of our aid dollars for hungry and poor people. To find out more about Bread for the World's work, check out bread.org. You can learn there about what Bread for the World does, and especially about our campaign next year to make U.S. foreign assistance more effective.